Alright, on to episode 32, and today is probably a fan favorite if I were to make an assumption, since how so many people love them, the capybara. The largest species of rodent, despite that being one of the cutest animals and the most chill in all the world. And we're going to get into a little bit about that, but first I would like to discuss the environment we're making for them. Being a semi-aquatic creature, it does make sense that we put a decent amount of water in for them. However, we're going to do a little something here and have a three-tier system. Now, it is going to be slightly similar to when we did the small-clawed Asian otter. However, the difference is it's going to be more of a waterfall than just a rice field. And this middle section here, we are actually going to put a bunch of enrichments and sort of making it a almost like a hot spring, which has actually become quite popular ever since it started in Japan, where a zookeeper in a Japanese zoo once noticed the attraction these animals had to hot water while cleaning out the exhibit, and the hot springs have been a staple for capybaras ever since. Now, let's discuss the animal in question, shall we? First and foremost, the capybara's scientific name is Greek. Lovely, I sure do love trying to read Greek. So its name is the Hydroceras hydrocharis. Now you may be thinking, that's quite the name. Obviously hydro, we all know hydro, it means water. Well, you're pretty close. The name in question actually means water pig, water enjoyer. So essentially its scientific name just pretty much gives the idea that, yeah, this animal really likes water, and I mean, I kind of see the pig, but I, at the same time, don't at all. Now, when it comes to the name we know them as, it comes from the Tupi word capybaras, which means one who eats slender leaves, or in more Anglophile words, grass eater. So where can you find these massive guinea pig cousins? Well, there's actually two different species, one being the greater and one being the lesser. The greater is the one that we all know, obviously, because, you know, wouldn't be the greater if no one knew of it. But that can be found in, oh boy, here we go, Brazil, French Guiana, Suriname, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina, and Uruguay. While the lesser can be found in Panama, Colombia, and Venezuela. However, even though some of those nations are on both of their territorial range, they do not share said range. So up north you're going to find the lesser, and down south you're going to find the greater. Now, how big is this massive rodent? I know, I've been going on a bit about it, but let's actually discuss numbers. First and foremost, the capybara stands about 20 to 24 inches tall and can weigh anywhere from 77 to 150 pounds. Now, in comparison, the most common relative being the guinea pig, anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 pounds, essentially meaning that on their highest maximums, the capybara weighs 62.5 times as much as a guinea pig. Now, this large size is kind of up for debate when it comes to evolutionary story. However, we'll get into that a little bit later. There is one other location that does bear mentioning when it comes to the region of the capybara, and that would have to be the invasive species in Florida. Because, of course, they're invasive in Florida. Everything is invasive in Florida at this point, I swear to God. From caimans to pythons to fish of all forms, of course, somehow there would be capybara managed to make their way into the Everglades. However, it's not too much of a worry for the mere fact of the environment's relatively similar. The only difference is replace caimans and anacondas with Burmese pythons and American alligators and, tomato. Now, they are also really adapting well with urbanization. While, yes, of course, the destruction of their natural habitats is an issue, and it has caused a bit of population insecurity, they are still least concerned, and in the case of some places, they have thrived very well with the encroaching of human populace. As a matter of fact, for some reason, the capybara doesn't seem too afraid of people, even though it has been known to be hunted for both its meat and its hide. Which just leads to the question, why are they so chill? With all the things that have happened to them, not just with humans, but since how they live in a dangerous location in the New World, why are they so chill with jaguars, anacondas, caimans, I guess now Burmese pythons, alligators, crocodiles, humans when they're younger, harpy eagles, ocelots? Like, what could possibly have made them so docile? We have no idea, actually. As a matter of fact, that's actually one of the many things that has been hypothesized through their evolutionary line. But as I said earlier, we will come back to that, because I have some, well, I'm going to do something a little different this time around, and I hope you do enjoy it. But as for now, let's continue on with the exhibit. So I've decided to set up this little viewing path, one that has a section that sticks straight out, and looking at that more, the hot tub we're going to have set up for them, and the rest of it kind of just goes off and overlooks just above where their sleeping area is going to be. This way you can have a decent look at it, plus there's going to be, obviously we're going to add some more foliage and whatnot to really make the exhibit look unique. So now that pretty much all the important stuff of the exhibit is said and done, obviously still have this going on in the background. The capybara is a social creature. However, they have been known to go solo every once in a while. Their herds can grow up to roughly 40 individuals and are usually led by a single alpha male who gets to breed with all the females. Now, that doesn't mean that, some of the lower males don't get it in every once in a while, because let's be real, you can't watch them all. Sometimes the little guys get lucky, and good for them. But even if, let's say, there is a time when the male decides that he wants to, do, well, female capybara actually are able to reject him. And how would they do so? Well, simple. They dive to the bottom of whatever body of water they live by, which, on top of everything, is hilarious, because they can stay under there for like 5 minutes. Capybara can hold their breath for 5 minutes underwater, just waiting for him to give up and go try to be with someone else, because, you know what? I feel that. Now, even after the mating is said and done, there's a very interesting way of parenting that these animals conduct. And it's actually one that I failed to mention in the African wild dogs video, but it's something known as alloparenting. Essentially what happens is one of the females, or maybe more, will be the designated mom of the group, pretty much taking care of all of the babies, despite whether it's her own or if it's someone else's. And they essentially go off in shifts. Eventually, one will stop, another will take over as designated mom, and that's how they take care of one another. Another interesting fact is it isn't just for capybaras. In captive situations, they have been known to adopt other species of animals, whether it be dogs, birds. Essentially, they're the most affectionate animal I've ever seen for reasons we don't really know. Now, they are also extremely communicative, which, again, is strange for something as large as they are and very much hunted by many other animals. So why might that be? Again, another mystery for the ages for the capybara. However, the sounds that they make are pretty interesting. They are very well known to communicate with very specific sounds for specific reasons, but roughly they'll have different forms of purring, barking, whistling, grunts, pretty much a whole bunch of sounds that you really wouldn't expect a rodent to make, especially the purring. That one's quite interesting for me. But that's beside the point. So, why are these animals the way they are? Well, that's where we get into this new little section that, if it's interesting enough for all of you, I'm going to talk about their evolutionary history. So, the ancestor of the capybara is something known as the Eocaris pinckneyi, or Pinky's capybara, which was found in North America, more specifically Southern California, Arizona, and Florida. Now, it very much, most likely, expanded the entirety of the southern United States. Those 3 locations are just where its fossil remains have been found. Now, the reason this is interesting is because capybara are all in South America. All species. And this ancient, directly related species is in North America, which leads to the idea that these animals, which were roughly 40% larger, generally speaking, the idea is they were roughly 198 to 249 pounds. The idea is that they came along during the Great American Interchange. For those of you who don't know, the Great American Interchange is when the Isthmus of Panama was first created, where North and South America finally came together. Interestingly enough, this led to the extinction of a lot of animals in South America, and a lot of the animals we know as being South American pretty much came from North America, pretty much uprooting the entire ecosystem. Some theories do state that it's a possibility that they did evolve in South America to become that large from a smaller species due to a lack of predation. This leads into the theory of how they became as passive as they are. You see, a lot of major predators were from North America. In South America, the only major predators they had would have been the terror birds, massive 7 to 8 foot tall predatory birds that pretty much would exclusively hunt in the Great Plains of South America at the time, due to, at the point of the divergence of capybaras evolution, there would most likely be no Amazon rainforest yet. We do know that back in the day that was how it was, though we aren't entirely sure just when they got to their size. That being said, once the Isthmus of Panama did come together, a lot of other major predators did end up showing up in the area. Things like big cats, wolves, some of the largest bears to ever grace the earth, all came from North America, which does somewhat explain why the modern capybara is smaller than its ancestral version, seeing how they now had to hide. Granted, at this time there was the growing forests and jungles of the Amazon, but when you're bigger, you're easier to catch. And seeing how going from the small guinea pig sized animal into the much larger species of the Pinckney capybara, it does make sense it was less wary, seeing how it only really had to deal with the terror birds, which weren't capable of entering deep water. The Great American Interchange actually happened 3 million years ago, and the fossils were found to probably be from the 2.7 million years ago range. So with the interchange happening 0.3 million years prior, and the capybaras evolved in South America and made their way up north, got a little larger, and then went extinct due to the massive predators. So that is our little story and our exhibit of the capybara. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do the liking, commenting, and subscribing as per expectation. And if there's anything you would like to see in the next episode, whether it has to do with the exhibit itself or if there's little tidbits and facts about the caracal, which is the next animal on our list, I would love to see it. And until next time, go out, touch grass, hug your loved ones, and have a good day. Goodbye.